Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. Today is All Strange Supreme. This is Glazer. Let's get to it. We are going to kick it off with this Zombies Go Nom Nom list. This is one of the best Strange Supreme lists that we have. It is a Loki Thanos list that is trying to sort of combine a little bit of the tech. It's not running that much tech with the scaling power of Strange Supreme, the cheap power of Mockingbird, and the control of Eliath, thus being able to win a lot of games of Marvel Snap. Strange Supreme will eat all the cards that Loki creates, which is completely freaking wild. You probably want to play a bunch at once if you get that far, but this is a very powerful deck that has a lot of combos. A lot of people are running their own Strange Supremes, a lot of people are running similar decks, and getting their decks at a discount is extremely strong. Before we get to the breakdown of this deck, I'd like to let you know that this Saturday we're going to have our 20,000 YouTube subscriber celebration. That is going to be on Twitch, where we have $300 of prizes. We're giving away either the Kate Bishop bundle or the Rocket and Group bundle, whichever you prefer. We've got a stretch goal of giving away the Lethal Allure $100 Thena bundle. If you'd like to come check it out, please, please, please do so. We will be live basically all day Saturday. We should be going live at about somewhere between 12 and 1 p.m. So come hang out. We'll be live all day, and we hope to see you there. All right, moving along. Twitch.tv/Zombies Go Nom Nom. The great Zombies Go Nom Nom is the creator of this list. You need 3 cards for it: Thanos, Strange, and Wiccan. Mockingbird and Eliath can be Iron Man and Sasquatch just fine. Neither one is incredibly important. In fact, I'm slightly curious if Sasquatch really does end up being nearly as good as Mockingbird in the Strange Supreme specific versions of this list. Iron Man just gives you a way to go over the top. Eliath says, I don't want my opponent's combo to happen. Iron Man says, okay, now I'm so big that your combo doesn't matter. Sam Wilson, Loki and Iron Patriot can be Gorgon or Shadow King. Shadow King, I'm not completely convinced, isn't just better than Loki in this brew. Red Guardian and Copycat are great right now. A lot of people running similar decks, giving Copycat a lot of power. Red Guardian is amazing. Sometimes you just get to beat the Strange Supreme immediately, shut it down, and you can snap on that. They can be Morbius, Rogue, and Negasonic. So, card by card, Loki here is important in that he allows you to basically play the opponent deck for cheaper. He lets your Strange Supreme become a lane winningly, insanely big and powerful card. He's genuinely excellent overall in Thanos in particular, because if you can Loki on one with stones in hand, particularly the stones that draw you cards, you then get extra of the opponent's cards, which is an extremely powerful situation to find yourself in. Strange Supreme is already, in my opinion, one of the coolest and best cards in Marvel Snap. 2 cost scalers almost never disappoint, so it's great to see Strange Supreme here. You are paying for a lot of the power it gets, right? Like you're paying like 6 for the 18 to 20 power it gets. It's really much more like you eat a card on turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, right? That's eating 5 cards. That is 10 power. It's a 212. 212 is nothing to sneeze at. We've spent ages talking about how Sam Wilson as a 2/8 is one of the best cards in the game. For this deck, we get around a like a minimum 2/8, more like a 210 to 212, and that is genuinely stellar, top-notch stats. Plus, he centralizes that lane, that power into one location, allowing you to really, while you gain all that power, have enough board space to continue to develop other spots. Iron Patriot remains a really strong snap condition in Marvel Snap. If you win his card, it's very hard for your opponent to stay on your snap because you could have almost anything on the cheap, and thus Iron Patriot remains very strong. It's not quite as good as it was. I still think it could probably use another nerf, but it is very powerful. Sam Wilson remains one of the best cards in the game as a scale that gets to 2/8. He also lets you play Strange Supreme relatively easily on turn 2 or turn 3. If you have both, what I've been doing a lot is playing Sam on turn 2 and then Strange and a Stone on turn 3, and then I can get that extra Sam buff. I now have a 2/5, and then Strange Supreme is going to turn himself into a 2/5 immediately, and that works out pretty well for me. But hey, if you don't see Sam, you just immediately get that extra card to eat right away without having to worry about anything else. Cosmo is not only really good at shutting down your opponents, but it's also very, very good. Strange Supreme. I almost said Sam Wilson. Strange Supreme protection. You drop that on Strange Supreme if you've got a really big lane, and a lot of decks just can't compete. Red Guardian stops other Strange Supremes, while it also just is obnoxious to multiple other decks. It's a powerful and consistent card. So many people are running decks that look just like this that Copycat gives you an extra shot at an important draw. Sometimes you're going to hit that Wiccan, that Shang-Chi, so on, and you're just way ahead. Power must be controlled. Shang-Chi can kill lots of Strange Supremes and lots of other things in the meta. While Wiccan is a burst of energy that is game winning, he still remains in Thanos. probably at his most consistent because you just have such a low curve outside of him. In fact, we're not running any 5 reps, we jump straight to 6. Alioth is the shutdown of the opponent's game plan, the shutdown of how your opponent is trying to stop you and win the game, and thus it's incredibly useful because you have this one lane that is basically won by Strange Supreme. All you have to do is get another, and you've got priority. It's not very difficult to do. Also, because you have Mockingbird, who, if you can get out enough cheap cards, is just enough cards that Strange can't eat them all, ends up playing for something like a 3 or 4 9. She's not amazing here, but you don't always draw Strange, and when you don't, she's absolutely backbreaking. And when you do, you're perfectly happy to have just this decent body. Thanos, meanwhile, is largely here for the stones. You will play a 612, but he's almost never going to be a 622. The sheer amount of time that Thanos insists on eating Strange insists on eating my damn power stone when there's multiple other options and Thanos is 20 is obnoxious. But nevertheless, Thanos is really, really great power. You can play him into lanes that let you win the game um, on in very, very real ways, thanks to the space and soul stones. So he is really useful and worth running. All right, so this one has a 65% win rate in literally exactly 100 games, which is really great. So turn one, you want Loki if you have other draw cards in hand. If not, you'll play draw cards. Uh, Obviously, if you have Loki and if you have Loki and not draw cards, I think I would generally play those not draw cards. I don't really love Loki without being able to draw extra cards, unless you know what your opponent's playing. If they've got a shield on the board, if they've got extra cards in their deck, you can Loki relatively safely. For anyone who's new here, you can see that Loki is written in green while draw is written in yellow. The green writing indicates that this is a potential snap condition. This is something you're looking to consider snapping on as the board develops a little bit. Yellow is just our regular cards, and white means this is consistently a snap condition. If you get Strange Supreme on 2, I'm gonna have to get used to saying that. If you get, I said this yesterday too, right? Strange Supreme, Strange Supreme, Strange Supreme. If you get Strange on 2, you're gonna have to get used to starting to snap. I think getting that really, really big power in a lane, forcing your opponent to determine whether they want to stick in that lane and try and compete with you, or whether it's better for them to run and ditch that lane is really powerful. And as that information develops, you have a lot you can do with it as far as your own developing your own board and game plan. After that, you play Sam. We discussed that in the card by card over Iron Patriot. Iron Patriot with a win can be a snap, although there is nothing very specific to win that with this deck. Over, just draw a card. Turn 3, Cosmo on the Strange Lane. You can play a 2+1 over other threes, and from here on, as soon as you can play Mockingbird, you generally speaking do, because you don't want Strange to end up, as long as you've played Strange, you don't want Strange to end up eating so many stones that she's not playable anymore. Turn 4, Wiccan, who is also a snap condition. Extra energy makes you feel real strong here. Over a 2+2, this is where you get your 2s out, or 2s and draws. Turn 5, Thanos or Shang-Chi plus, or you can play Red Guardian or Copycat plus. And then you'd like to end the game with Alioth or Shang-Chi, generally speaking, but once in a while that Thanos is just big, as what you need will be stats. Props to zombies for this really cool list. We're going to get to the thumbnail list right after this little bit. First, we have to ask you to please hit that sub, like, and comment if you're willing to. It would mean the absolute world to us if you were willing to support this channel where we release a video every day. Today will be a 2 video day, as the OTA will have a video out later. If you want the most Marvel Snap content, we cover everything in this game, from bundles to live streams to news to card acquisition to at least 3 new decks every day. Hit that sub button, like, and comment as we try to hit 25,000 subs in 2025. In addition, we're giving away a Captain Carter this week. I know this isn't the best season pass, but we are giving away one this week. All you have to do is sub, like, and comment. I will ask you a question later this video. You leave a comment in response to that question, and all of a sudden you are entered to win that Captain card. It's just that simple. Commenting on any video this week can enter you to win that card. Next up, we've got Unhelpful Yoda. This is the Yoda list this is the thumbnail list. The thumbnail list is always the second list in these videos. I had a massive amount of success with this list. It felt very strong. It feels really weird to have very little tech, right? Cosmo's the only like tech card here, but this one puts up very, very unpredictable power. You just have to recognize power outputs of opponents. There's some decks you can't go over, right? A negative that goes off, you're just not beating. But most of the time, you can get so big with this list that you are going to win a ton of games of Snap. This deck needs Strange, Mockingbird, Sasquatch, Gwenpool, and Marvel Boy. I know that's reasonably expensive, sorry, but those are the required cards for this list. Uh, Sam, Kate, and Nico can be Mirage, Iron Patriot, Shadow King, and Sinister. That is how we build this list. I think that it's reasonable to try and fit Shadow King in this list over Nico in particular. I think that is a perfectly fine thing to do. Nico is really good, though, in that turning something into a demon to get it eaten, giving +2 power as a surprise, um, blowing something up to draw 2 has been very, very strong in this. And of course, the location change. She is a very useful and powerful card. She also gives you an extra 1 drop, which is nice because you're running Marvel Boy. So Squirrel Girl is here because it synergizes with Strange Supreme and Marvel Boy, and both those cards are extremely strong here. Remember that if you play Marvel Boy, if you just play Squirrel Girl, no Strange Supreme, and then you play Marvel Boy on 3, that is +3 on turn 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is a 313. Just from that Marvel Boy, it's a ton of power. It can be a little unpredictable if you've got more than 3 ones, but that's fine. You end up putting out just tons of power with this card, and Squirrel Girl lets you do that. And like just that extra little bit of power really does make a difference in lanes that seem closed off. I really enjoyed Marvel Boy in this list. I really enjoyed the way Squirrel Girl goes with it. Well, if you go Squirrel Girl into Strange Supreme, you are already adding 6 power. You've got a 2/8. Just by playing Squirrel Girl on 1 and Strange Supreme on 2. The other nice thing is if you play Marvel Boy and then you play Strange, when Strange eats the Marvel Boy cards, it's going to keep that power. Kate also gives you cards to eat with Strange Supreme. The Acid Arrow can force the opponent to eat something that's going to basically give it net even power instead of positive power, which is relatively nice. If you can figure out how to get the buff on the what's the basic arrow? Oh, I think it's just called basic arrow. On the basic arrow, that works as well. There's a lot of different ways to do it that way. Kate's very, very good with Strange Supreme. Strange Supreme feels like a tall Victoria hand in a way, right? Sam Wilson, again, we've discussed in the Thanos list, but it's just 2/8 is big, except that if you play Strange Supreme, it's just going to go into that, and that's perfectly fine. Feel free to alternate those 2 cards as you'd like. Mysterio is here because on play, she makes, let's assume we don't have Strange for the time being. On play, Mockingbird is immediately a 3/6, 3/9, and Sasquatch is already a 3/10. Sometimes on turn 3, you can play Mysterio and Nico, and you'll have that shield out, and all of a sudden, you've just played 4 cards to make Sasquatch a 2, and now your Mockingbird's a 2, and you can drop both of those on like turn 4, and it's just absurd. It's crazy power. The other big thing for Mysterio is if it's hit by Gwenpool at all, it becomes a uh, what's the math here exactly? A 214, right? Uh, that's one hit, right? Like because we get +6. It becomes a 210 on one hit, and then 2 hits. It obviously becomes frickin' Doctor Doom. It is an insanely useful and powerful card here. Uh, the only downside is Strange Supreme insists on eating my real Mysterio, but hey, so be it. We discussed Marvel Boy. Cosmo both gives you control for opponents. I was able to beat a Surfer list because I Cosmoed the lane that had to play Surfer. Um, I had a really, really, really great win where my opponent was trying to do some hellish shenanigans with Grandmaster on the last turn, and they were no, they were trying to do some shenanigans with Grandmaster and Killmonger on the last turn, and I had Cosmo in the middle lane, and none of that crap happened. Shauna's really great for Strange Supreme. You can just eat the card. Bast is a really, really annoying hit, but everything else is kind of okay. So as long as you don't hit Bast all the time, you're pretty much okay to just be okay. I'll just eat things with Strange Supreme and have all these cards. Also, obviously, very powerful with Marvel Boy. If I play Strange Supreme, I will play Shauna and then Marvel Boy just fine, and then I just have enough energy and space to like I can still play Squirrel Girl and play massive power. The card I would really like to play though on turn 4 is Gwenpool. Gwenpool very much wants to hit Mysterio. You can also you have to do this on turn 4 if you're going to Mysterio on turn 5 in this list. If it does hit it, it's great. Anything it hits though is really nice. It's very hard for your opponent to account for the power in it because you don't know where it's going to hit. And Machmir and Sasquatch are obviously big power. That gets cheaper when you play a bunch of cards. If you don't have Mysterio on turn 5, you're going to want to play like your Kate Arrows and your Squirrel Girl. And you just sort of want to go as wide as possible, play as many cards as possible so you can explode out last turn. Your opponent cannot predict you. You've got that really, really big strange lane, right? You can play enough stuff to drop Cosmo, Mockingbird, and Sasquatch and just say thanks. So I went 9-1 plus 17 cubes with this. You can check the VOD of yesterday's stream either on YouTube or Twitch, twitch.tv/PulseGlazer, YouTube right here on this channel. It's there if you'd like to see me go 9-1 with it plus 17 cubes. Yoda, the person who sent this to me, went 23-11, 65% plus 35 cubes. I haven't had a chance to check, but I know Chamo, the current number 4 ranked player, started playing this list as well. It's really great. Turn 1, you want pass, but Squirrel if Marvel Boy is perfectly fine. Turn 2, Strange is great. Or you can play Squirrel Girl also if you have Strange to play on turn 2, by the way. Strange, who remains a snap condition, set over Sam over Kate, which is more or less equal to Mysterio if Sasquatch. Um, Turn 3, Marvel Boy if Squirrels, Sasquatch if Mysterio, Cosmo or Shauna if Strange. Turn 4, Gwenpool is better than earlier planes. If you played Marvel Boy, now you're going to go into Shauna, for example, just fine. If you played Mar- uh, if you played Shauna already, now you'll go into Marvel Boy just fine if you don't have Gwenpool. Turn 5, Mysterio, all K Towers. Basically, you play as much as you can, as many cheap cards as you can. And then turn 6, Sasquatch and Mockingbird. If you hit Mysterio with Gwenpool, that can be a snap condition. If you've got Sasquatch and Mockingbird and you know you can play them both on the last turn, that too can be a snap condition. I rocked with this list. This list felt incredibly strong. I was like, this doesn't have any tech. I don't even like the Cook build, and this is very much a core the Cook build. What are we doing here? Well, what we're doing here is winning a lot of games of Marvel Snap. This and the second list from yesterday, which was in fact a Binks list, the sort of what did I call it? The Victoria Hand list, Victoria Hand deck, really, really surprised me with how powerful and versatile Strange Supreme is. Just having access again to a 212 is wild. All right, top player thoughts. Every week, I ask a bunch, just a ton of top players, what they think of the brand new card. We've got more people than anyone because everyone to talk about Strange Supreme. So first, we got Cougar, who is ranked like 4 last season, multiple time top 10 player. Substantial upgrade to the decks he fits in, especially week 1. It's important to have a way to protect him. I've been pleasantly surprised, not gonna lie. My hopes weren't too high after the last stretch of releases. Well, Strange Supreme, stop that, huh? Smiles, who is generally around the top 20, usually playing Surfer, but plays other things too, says seems pretty good as a scaler. Feels right to me. Roram, another top player, leader of an alliance of a lot of top players, wonderful streamer. Roram plays on Twitch, very strong and very fun. He'll be a prevalent part of the meta for a while. Agreed. Dragon, a tournament player and top 100 player, says, I've seen some crazy win rates with this card. Yeah, makes sense to me. JD McDonaldino, who was ranked 3 or 4 last season, again, another phenomenal player. He created that Sandman Gorgon Doom list, Ms. Marvel list that was everywhere last season. That was his. He says, 2 cost scaler, big buys. And then he sent me the Costco guys meme. Yeah, good card. Blue Tears, who won last Snap Justice League, another top 100 player, says, busted. Best card of the month. Goes in Thanos, Clog, and any generation heavy decks. Abra says Strange Supreme is by far the best card getting released this season. Lots of synergies and good early game scaling. Abra doesn't grind anywhere, but was a top player when he did. Good to see that he thinks it's top notch. W, one of the all time great deck builders in Marvel Snap, created Doom Wave and a ton of other decks that, if you've played Marvel Snap long enough, you'll know. Card's insane. Thanos is obviously the biggest winner of it so far, but I think we haven't scratched the surface. W is usually fairly conservative. He likes things often, but he doesn't usually love things. So that's really big praise. Eeka is a little less high. This is a good card that does what no other card does. Will see permanent homes. That is homes plural. Eeka, that's great deck builder, says this is going to go in a lot of decks. We are in fact going to see an Eeka deck at the end of this video. Toxic Soul King, our wonderful top 100 friend, one of my favorite Austrians. Apparently, I like a lot of Austrians in this game. Best card of the season, great stats, doing way too much, great stats with way too much synergy. Sorry, he answered me in his sleep and then tried to clarify it when he woke up, and I messed that up. Sorry, Toxie. Best card of the season, great stats with way too much synergy. Yeah, amazing synergies for this card. Meanwhile, the great Butt, one of the best deck builders and players in Marvel Snap history, says 10 out of 10 card, feels incredibly strong but has real drawbacks, opens up some cool play lines, second dinner cooked. Agreed? Honifer actually seems really good, lots of ways to use it, most exciting card in a while. Yep. Heart of the card snap. Sorry, Honifer is another top 10 player, ranked like 6 right now, been top 10 previously. Hart, who was top 10 previously, and last season, in fact, and is like a surfer main, says good card, makes wide decks go more vertical. Yep. Lambie series. If you don't know Lambie spent a lot of time as the best Marvel Snap player in the world. He now plays Parallel. He says he's come back to Marvel Snap, but I think he's just getting my hopes up. Lambie says, I've only watched it on streams, but damn, this card not just insane. So much stats on a 2-drop, clears board space, makes Shadow King resurge in the meta. Yep, Lambie has nothing bad to say about it. This card is it. It is the it. Safety Blade says fun card, makes some actually different playstyles happen, and I think one card like this a month is good. I don't think it's overpowered like many say, and the reality prop just settles the Thanos card, but happy with everything about the card so far. I don't think it's just going to be a Thanos card. I think it is going to have multiple homes, but everything else seems right to me. Zenade, who finished number 11 last season, another top player, says good card, lots of different things to play around with giving him value. Being able to unclog naturally is a huge upside. Agreed. I'm shocked at just how often locations are just like, huh, I'm really happy I have this card. Oh, are those raptors that are annoying me? No, I've got Strange Supreme. That's not a thing. So I can see that like just keeping him viable if very little else. Fudge, who'll be on the podcast tonight, just says very big. Thank you, Fudge. Good job, caveman. Check out Fudge on Elephant Fudge on stream. He's another top 100-ish player. Scream Connoisseur, who's ranked like 6 now, top 10 again last season. Completely broken card. Thanos is the best deck with it by a country mile, and it's not even close. He had a lot more to say about, like, with a lot of curses about how good this card was and how it's completely destroyed the meta. Yeah, sure is good. Salty says really strong, stable, and Thanos from now on, vulnerable to tech. Sounds right. Everything is vulnerable to tech in some way, or almost everything is, or should be, though. Splat, who was on the podcast last week and is one of the most like brilliant mad scientist deck builders of the game, strong so far, still looking for more interesting play lines. I'll let you know when Splat gets there. CHZ, another top 20 player, so surprised to say, but it's really, really good. Ooh, a double really. Crime Afoot, our friend Crimea, says another great streamer, top 100 player. Big numbers, but isn't game breaking, makes for a lot of interesting new lists. Yep, Derek says seems decent. I've actually got Derek's list. It is weird. I want to wait for him to refine it before I share it, but I will have it for you relatively soon. Derek is currently the rank 2 or 3 player on the Infinite Leaderboard. Husky Puppies 35. Yes, the real Husky Puppy says best card of the season, to which I replied best to him best card since Sam. Uh I have no idea what name that's supposed to be. Sorry. Can grow to a ton of power, but has a lot of annoying synergies as well. Apparently, Strange Supreme said, oh, that's Den. Den says, can grow to a lot of power, but has a lot of annoying synergies as well. Den is annoyed that it keeps eating him out of wins. You can play around that. You just have to be very careful. Skosko, Den is the head writer at Marvel Snap Zone. Skosko is the head writer at Snapfan. Scales really big. Hasn't been totally solved yet. Hopefully, he's not just a Thanos card in a few weeks. I don't think he is. Racco, our friend Philly, who does all the shorts on the channel, another top player who wins multiple tournaments, says amazing power on 2, brilliant in Thanos, super powerful ladder card, way less good in Conquest or Fraternities, because a card that concentrates all your power in one place makes you way too vulnerable. I'm not sure I agree with that, but time will tell. Jimmy Dickens, a Snap fan writer, another top player, says way better than anticipated. Like strong and worthwhile build around or build into for decks. I think he takes some getting used to, but ultimately he's quite solid, maybe the strongest of the month even. Yep, sounds right to me. And from there, we are finally on to our next deck, which is Fazer Thanos. Fazer decided to build a Destroy Thanos because Thanos is, I think, right now fairly clearly the best deck. And what this deck does, what Fazer Thanos Destroy does, is say, I will win that mirror. Because I have Killmonger, because I have cards like Null and Venom that can just be stupidly huge, I should be able to pull off 3 huge lanes because Venom can make one lane huge, Strange can make one lane huge, and then you've just got a really big Null or like Death and Thanos, etc., and you should be able to win that way. This list felt really good. Fazer went 10-0 with it, and I wanted to shout it out. You can find our friend Fazer, twitter.com/Fazer_snap. This deck needs X23, Strange, and Thanos. X23 is great here. Hopefully you have her because they gave her to everyone in their inbox a while back. If you have the variant, you can play the card. Mockingbird can be Firehair, Sasquatch, Nico, or Gladiator. Um, Mockingbird does not feel terribly important here. She's nice, but not terribly important. I'm not sure if Lady Deathstrike is right at all. I'm not sure what card she wants to be. Misery makes some sense. Okay. Sorry. Lady Deathstrike might be right in this again, like next week when we stop seeing quite as many of the same, like mirror decks. So Hood is here because you have multiple ways to get rid of it, whether it be Carnage, whether it be Venom, whether it be Killmonger, whether it be Lady Deathstrike. That gives you a 1/6. Eating that 1/6, turning it into a 1/8 with Strange Supreme is great. We know that a 1/8 is great, right? And that's fundamentally what Strange Supreme turns it into. It's really nice. If you eat it, if you blow it up in another way, then it is still null food. X23 gives you enough extra energy to really, really go to town with all your destroys. I was like, there's no way she's going to be good. There's no way I have space for her. Yeah, Strange Supreme says that's not a problem. Thanks, though. Carnage is just the cheap way to eat things. Really, really nicely on turn 5, Venom and Carnage, or Carnage and Killmonger is extremely strong. You can play Carnage early to unclog a lane, but don't feel like you're forced to. Strange Supreme is a ton of power. He basically makes sure that when you don't see all your destroyer cards early, you're not so clogged that you can't win. He almost operates a little bit as a decoy in this list, as opponents like sort of freak out about Strange Supreme as you're building this insane other combo elsewhere. Killmonger kills all the stones, makes your death free, makes your null big. Real nice. Also, if you destroy all your opponent's stones and stuff, they can't grow their strange, and then you should win. Probably the most important card in the deck. Venom is here to eat a big lane. You eat a big lane. Sometimes you even eat a Strain Supreme lane if you have a big copy of something that you like to keep around. You eat that big lane. Now you suddenly have a big null, and you should be really hard to beat. Sometimes opponents do get out of control with their power, and power must be controlled. Shang-Chi is in the list. Later Death Strike is a very good answer should you run into anyone not playing this deck. Let's say someone's playing a Mobius or whatever else, Death Strike answers that. Null is stupidly huge. He's like a 37 power card on this list. If you don't see a lot of your destroy and stuff early, fairly often you're going to be able to play a Mockingbird on like turn 3 or 4, and then go into double destroy on turn 4 or 5, and should be able to just get a free 9 power out of it that way. Thanos gives you the stones. You don't usually play him here, but hey, 5 or 6 12 is fine. And then Death gets relatively cheap. You'd like her to be relatively free so that you can play her with Null, and then God are you hard to beat. So Fazer went 10-0. This is meant to win the mirror with Thanos. Turn 1 is draw over X23 or Hood. Turn 2 is strange over 1. Turn 3 strange over the first destroy over and from here on you Mockingbird as you can. I would play Mockingbird on 3 over any destroy. Turn 4 destroy more. Turn 6 is your last destroy, ideally Lady Deathstrike or Venom or Carnage and Killmonger. And Thanos is fine if you didn't have any destroy. Turn 6, if you must play Thanos, you're probably running, but you can also very often play like a Death and Shang-Chi or a Death and Null. The second you realize you're going to get a free Death and you have Death, you should probably snap. You're going to win that game. Chef's Kiss. This list is brilliant and wonderful, and I think you should abso-freaking-lutely play it. Props to Fazer for coming up with it. I think there's a few tweaks that can really take this over the top, but I'm still mentally working those out. We'll get there. This feels like the best Destroy Thanos has probably ever been. Strain Supreme really, really does an amazing job at making it so that you're not totally screwed for space here. Hey, come check out the stream tonight at 8:30. We've got OTA later, so we've got a second video right here on this YouTube. But then we're going to talk about that OTA with both Elephant Fudge and Eeka on stream tonight, twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. A season pass question for anyone watching before the OTA. If you're watching after the OTA, you're just going to have to talk about the OTA, right? I will check times should this be the one that has the season pass. What are your OTA hopes and dreams? Cool. What do you want to see? What do you expect to see? It's a fine answer, but I'm mostly curious what you would like to see. We also have the stream team. Today is Thursday, so the King of Canada will be streaming well before the OTA at 12 p.m. Eastern. Please do go check out the King. The Pirate King Tucker will not be around Friday night, however. His baby's home. Yay. All right, next up we have Eeka's Sersi Supreme. Yeah, I told you we'd have an Eeka list. This one's really cool. Did you know Sersi generates cards, at least as far as Strange Supreme goes, and that now you have a bunch of generated cards, so your Mockingbird's very, very cheap. That's basically what this is. Also, White Tiger generates cards, and White Tiger generating multiple cards, hopefully from Wong, makes your Strange Supreme very, very big. All of this is very cool. And then on top of that, Wong, ideally, you're playing like Sage and Mockingbird. And now, oh my gosh, you've just got so freaking much power. This is one of my favorite Eeka brews in a while. This brew is so Eeka, but it does seem incredibly strong. Oh, no, it still says Shang Enjoyer. That's not his name. Um, yeah, everything else is right. So you can find Eeka at twitch.tv/Eeka_MTS or on the podcast tonight. This deck needs Sersi, Strange, and Mockingbird. Sam and Kate can be Shadow King or Mirage. Sage can be Juggernaut or Wolfsbane, and Nico can be Viper. So the Hood is here because having a 1/6 to eat is great. You also have Killmonger and Sersi to handle your Hood nonsense. Really, really good. There's only one like absolutely terrible two for Sersi to turn Hood into Carnage. Outside of that, you should be okay. There are more threes. There's like Deathlock and Venom and other shit to make Mysterio more dangerous, but you deal with that as well, just because you want that extra body on the board. It's extra stuff for Strange to eat. I know I just skipped a bunch of cards, sorry. Nico is your backup way to get rid of the Hood. It can turn him into a demon. It can blow him up to draw. If it blows him to draw, your way ahead. Things are going really well. Copies of Strange Supreme aren't as good as they seem, unfortunately, because they will just, Strange will eat other Strange immediately, or not immediately, but Strange will basically eat other Strange, which is womp womp. Nico copy is great though for either the demon or a sage if you are able to get that going. Drain Supreme is amazing. It's a ton of power, same as always. It's eating white tigers and it's eating like real things in this deck, which makes it genuinely a huge threat. K Bishop is very easy food for Strain Supreme, while it's also just a decent Cersei target once it's done its job. Just a solid card. Its cards also make Mockingbird cheaper. Sam Wilson, same as before, 2/8 good, 2/8 that can make Strange good. Mysterio, we've discussed, makes Mockingbird cheap, food for Strange. Sage is meant to be a last turn play, or copied by Nico. Sage on Wong is like almost a guaranteed lane win. If you can get that going, you should be good to go. And because you have Strange Supreme, you've now won a lane. Killmonger is relatively important here in terms of just making sure you don't get stuck with your own hood and messing up your opponent's Thanos because oh my god, is Thanos everywhere. Wong is terribly, terribly important here and terribly powerful. Hitting multiple white tigers, you get two tigers. Strange will eat one or two of those, and then if not, you just have eight power, which is great. It's also one of the best things to hit with Sersi in Marvel Snap. If you do hit it with Sersi, all of a sudden you get a six, which you turned your one into. You can get a seven if you did it on Wong, which is in some ways fine, in some ways less ideal in the background watching Steph Curry be an absolute freaking monster, just hitting three after three at the as the half ends. In case you're wondering when I recorded this, um, Cersei is like the key to the deck. Fortunately slash unfortunately, because she's really high variance. Not everyone has her, but she is very very fun. Turning cards like Wong and White Tiger into and Mysterio into really powerful things is amazing. And then, of course, we have Mockingbird, who should basically be free at the end of the game, thanks to Cersei. Free Mockingbird plus Sage wins cubes. Eeka went 17 and 10, 63% with this. Turn 1 is Hood. Turn 2 Strange over Sam over Mysterio. Turn 3 Strange over Monger if Hood over 2. Turn 4 is Wong or earlier plays. If you see Wong with the right stuff, that can be a snap condition. Turn 5 Cersei or White Tiger. Turn 6 Mockingbird and Sage. If you played White Tiger, you can also play Cersei and Sage. Or, sorry, not Cersei and Sage. Cersei and Mockingbird. And you should be able to win. This is a crazy, crazy amount of power. Lovely, insanely strong list. Gotta love it. Thank you, Eeka, for this very cool brew. Question of the day is from Bear Mode. Strange Supreme's release helped a lot of lesser played archetypes, the Cook, Tempo Token Destroy, Clog, which I feel are right on the cusp of being good before. I think that the Cook and Clog were very good. The Clog might have been the best deck in the game. I'm wondering how much of that success is due to those decks now having access to a powerful scaling 2-drop. I also believe Sam adds access to this powerful 2-drop scaler for many other decks that have risen to the top of the meta. Um, I don't know if I agree that Sam is the 2-drop that has been a scaler. Most scalar 2s get significantly bigger, right? Like we're talking about Scream, which can become 18. Um, this which becomes a 12. Morbius, which becomes insane. Sam is close to that, but not exactly that. How important do you think it is deck to have low cost scalars? Are there specific archetypes that you think need to have one added? We got a semi low cost scalar added earlier this month in Goliath. Two cost scalars are about the most important and powerful thing to be doing in Marvel Snap. Anyone who's played Angela knows this. Back when Angela was broken, she was a 2-0 or 2-2 that had a +2, then a 2-0 that had a +2. Um, we also used to have Thena when it was a 2-1 as this insanely, insanely strong scaler. In a weird way, Agent Venom acted as a scaler because it turned all your scalers. It basically gave them like a fast forward head start before they started scaling when he added 4 power to things. All of these different cards are basically 2 cost or low cost scalers. There's a point where Kitty was insanely, insanely strong as a low cost scaler. Um, Elsa was a 2 cost scaler for a little while. 2 cost scalers basically almost always, whenever they release one, become the meta. They are the most important thing. Every archetype really, really does need one. I'm thinking Destroy might be getting one when it gets Quentin Quire next month. When Quentin Quire comes next month, I think that if that comes data mines, be data mines. I think that is the whatchamacallit. I think that is the scaler for that archetype, but that archetype does need a scaler at the 2 cost spot. Carnage is good, but doesn't really scale up. It just gets big. It gets like medium size. It gets Sam Wilson size. I think Destroy could really, really use um, that archetype like improver. In a weird way, for a while, Iron Patriot was being scalar on the 2-drop spot for everything. So like I just think that this is this amazingly pivotal spot. It has proven to be one of the most powerful things to do in all of Marvel Snap basically forever. So to support on our Patreon come with honor thanks. I'm going to go relatively quickly because it has gotten relatively late. Let's say thank you to Fat Nick, our patron of the month, until Saturday when we will crown our new patron of the next month. Excuse me, sorry, I just realized that my computer's battery is dying. See, hi computer plug. All right, so we've got Abigail Giesland, our friend, Mandatory Burnout, Irregardless, LAB, Inc., I Am Frostman, Hota Neverete, Thinking Poker, Primed Ryan, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, Caretix Lee, Koirei, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Pyrofros, The Goat Seeker, Code, Hollowed, Only Fox, Synth, Absolute Shannon, Nightmare, Dirty Casual, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger Prime, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, The Bizza, Black Jeebus 23, Exos V, and Skippy G, Rhyming Friends, blah, blah, blah. Extras V, Jessica Gamble, Mr. Slush Death, The Kinger Bros, Bro, The Great Gazoo, Werewolf, Kevsy Hoda, Lunar Chris, Glam, Colonel Forbin, Bricks Do Click, Rob Silverman, M. Holland, David G. Wingfield, Stephen, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Stephen, oh, Jason B., Mr. Craig Starry, Matt V., Red Wrench, Corwin, Junk U, and Jimmy McHugh, Yist Out, Eighth Sage, One Big Man, Milkman for Reals, Cactus, Jack Reapzer, BG, Quid Pro Joe, Snap to Citizens Joe, D. Carlo, check him out on Twitch, Models Mod Supreme, Wickedy Boom Bot, Green Goblin, Unibot, Flan 56, The Fuzzy Lump, Spectrumix, Hoot, thanks for stopping by, Hoot. It was really great to see you. Acu, it's Ocularis, Matt H, DJ, Mikey Hedgings, Don't Freaking Flex, Nick the Greek Geek, Toxic Soul King, Zadrex, the King of Canada, Deadman Falcon, Falthor Newman, Jonesy, Two Type, The Great Learners, the Pirate King Tucker, and of course, Gunny T. The T stands for Peace Out. I got a second video, so we got to get everything set up, and I'll see you tomorrow for some more Snap Take. Love ya. Bye.